A warm welcome back to your latest industry recap. From developments at Air India that are not entirely positive, to exciting news for Virgin Australia, and a new route announcement. Why not begin with Air India, who we know to be undergoing a transformative effort to essentially rebuild the brand image and fleet, which will in turn elevate the airline's status, at least hopefully. However, the airline's best attempts to secure the delivery of new aircraft to really facilitate all this is proving more substantially challenging than what was initially imagined. Notably, the delivery of new Boeing aircraft for the rebuild efforts has become complex, and Air India is now speaking out on the related issues it faces. Delivering new planes, as you would imagine, is fundamental to any airline's growth, renewal, and sustainability efforts. However, what becomes fascinating is the difference for Air India in their commitment to new planes, which far exceeds the average company. The Indian flag carrier committed to hundreds upon hundreds of new planes spread across Airbus and Boeing, focusing on not just narrow-body but also wide-body jets to elevate itself in an industry as an industry leader with a more modern and efficient fleet base. Air India was also able to secure aircraft sooner thanks to the availability of many whitetails that had their originally destined home not come to fruition, and therefore they were available for the taking. The hope of sooner aircraft deliveries was an exciting prospect, remember, for an airline that would want to accelerate its rebuild wherever possible. However, Air India has said that focusing in on the 737 MAX, which was meant to arrive by December and thus year's end, will not be possible, and I'm talking all of them. At the best, the company expects these planes to have arrived by the midway point of 2025. These developments follow comments from Air India's Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director, Campbell Wilson. This is the man that has been tasked with the ever-so-challenging job of turning around the company's image. While whitetail aircraft are the focus, as their arrivals will occur in the short term, it remains not as simple as this. Air India is already looking for planes that are currently or expected to be produced by manufacturers, and there are concerns about what that future holds for Boeing. The plane maker has been unable to meet deadlines for a considerable period, and a recent multi-month strike action conducted by over 30,000 employees has pushed output rates back further. Meanwhile, increased oversight into Boeing has prevented production increases and left Air India pondering what's next. Furthermore, delays to the 777X have only compounded the uncertainty, with the aircraft not expected to formally enter service until 2026 and then scheduled operations a year later for most. Wilson highlighted this complexity, but there is also much uncertainty about when new aircraft will arrive. While Air India will be thankful that it won't need to shut its business, these jets not arriving when it was expecting them will still profoundly impact its forecasting and scheduling. Air India is aware of these delays and knows not much can really be done. They feel they're just another airline impacted and will work with the plane maker to navigate the challenges that they may face. Of course, that while these challenges do impact them, we've seen the response to these complexities vary from airline to airline. Some have reacted in a more calm manner, others have been far more outspoken and negative. You'd argue that all the responses are completely valid, and some may even say to you that the frustration has led to better deals for the respective airlines for new planes, which ends up being a win-win for them. Over to the next story, and that is Virgin Australia. You may recall that Qatar Airways has been looking to acquire the domestic company. No, I'm not talking from a standpoint of a majority, but more so a minority stake. And now we've seen an interim authorization for at least the Integrated Alliance part, with the Australian Competitor and Consumer Commission, or ACCC, granting that. The ACCC is often tasked with determining whether planned acquisition efforts will not adversely affect the general public, competition, and other factors. And if it was found to do so, well, the ACCC would step in and not allow such thing to occur. Importantly, however, this will overall allow Virgin Australia to operate flights to Doha and therefore use Qatar Airways' global network to serve more than 100 destinations around the world. Per the current plan, Virgin Australia would operate 28 weekly flights from Perth, Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane via Qatar Airways aircraft as part of a major service upgrade for the Doha-based airline. Qatar Airways has been attempting to establish a more significant presence in the Australian market for some time. However, it's struggled to substantially achieve this. Much of the hesitancy that I speak of has been about the impact on Australian customers that may have been felt if Qatar was allowed to increase its connectivity options. Some onlookers say that the hesitancy was also about the belief that the flag carrier of Qantas needed to be protected. Others would disagree and say that all of this was ridiculous. Qatar Airways' rejection was primarily driven by its initial attempts to expand with its own planes, so as a result they had to get more creative with their approach path, and ultimately that plan would see them look to acquire part of an existing company, and with Qantas off the map, well, the optimal airline of choice was Virgin Australia, where Qatar wanted to take a minority stake to help propel it forward and achieve its desired effect for expansion, with after review the ACCC determining that Qatar Airways' vision will actually benefit customers by increasing capacity across key cities such as Melbourne and Sydney, look to drive down prices and elevate the service offering. Virgin Australia also knows that the interim authorization is an important step in the right direction for their business after they entered voluntary administration at the beginning of the pandemic, which we know dramatically changed how they operated as an airline and included the axing of wide-body aircraft. Over to the final story in today's recap, that is SAS announcing an expansion of their own network with new service East in 2025. The company will enhance its intercontinental network by offering a direct route between Copenhagen and Seoul from the 12th of September next year. Seoul Incheon being a major international gateway, not just for South Korea, but also acting as a fantastic port for onward connectivity right throughout Asia. It's an exciting time for the airline, and the first ever regular direct service between Scandinavia and Korea, all taking place during the peak summer season. It is expected to operate 4 times per week. However, when those colder months do arrive, SAS says the flight will be reduced to thrice weekly, where it will meet the demand that is present and free up obviously the aircraft for deployment to another market that may need an SAS service. The very SAS expansion that I speak of has been a big focus in recent periods, and the airline has been saying it time and time again. They call the Seoul route an essential pillar of their network moving forward, and generally a strategic decision to cater to evolving demands from a business and also leisure standpoint. If you're curious for what will be operating the service, well, it is the state-of-the-art A350, a fuel-efficient wide-body that has certainly helped propel the airline forward in all the right directions. This flight that I speak of has also been optimized for an evening departure, so in the best way possible, you'll be able to see maximum connectivity, which is what the airline is trying to aim for. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Any stories in today's recap that you'd like to indulge in, you can let me know. Thanks so much for your support here on the channel. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, stay tuned, same place, same time tomorrow for your latest industry recap.
And we'll fly.